Hello everyone, today I want to talk about something that people see and feel every day, but doesn't think about it. What is that? Well, that is renewable energy. You might be thinking, well, renewable energy is the future of energy independence that would counter climate change and other natural catastrophes. But now I want to tell you something different. This seemingly solution may not actually be a future-proof solution for our society. Hear me out, let me explain. With the current use of AI requests, like ChatGPT, and also the large tech companies' construction of large AI servers, what we're going to see in the next few decades is a massive surge in electricity consumption because the data centers runs entirely on the grid, and therefore it puts very, very high strain on the electricity. And so if we transition all our electrical production into renewable energy at this pace, it is very, very unlikely that renewable energy is going to satisfy our needs. And so there has to be an alternative energy source. And why is that? Because if we take a step back and look at the human history as a whole throughout the past 3,000 years, what we can agree upon is that each industrial revolution is accompanied by an upgrade in our use of energy. Let's say 3,000 years ago, as human beings, we were first able to utilize fire to cook food, to keep us warm, and that has allowed us to make more intricate machinery such as swords, knives, and so on, which can be used in battlefields and construction works. And after that, we were able to burn wood to cook our food and so on and so forth. But it was only up to the early 16th century or early 17th century that we're able to utilize coal as a power source. And this has allowed us humans, especially the people in Britain, to initiate a process known as the First Industrial Revolution, where they have used coals, they burnt coals in steam engines to produce motion and energy for trains to transport things around. And that has created such a huge advancement from our previous civilization, where we only knew how to burn wood. And we know that coal has a higher specific energy density than wood. Therefore, burning coal is much more efficient. And then later, let's say by the early 19th century, we first discovered petroleum and oil. And this has allowed us to use oil in vehicles and cars, which has allowed society to advance even further. And it was up to the mid-20th century where nuclear fission was discovered and utilized by many, many countries, which has resulted in more and more countries using nuclear power. Although there are a lot of risks and hazards linked with using nuclear fission, for example, as we've seen in the Fukushima accident in Japan in 2010, what we can't deny is that by using nuclear fission power, us humans were able to use more energy to produce more and to advance our civilization more, and which has accompanied the growth of the internet age. And now we're up to a new revolution here, which is AI. And frankly, with the use of AI, our energy consumption has greatly increased, greatly surpassed a very sustainable limits to growth. So if we were to continue using traditional power sources like coal, oil, and also even like some sustainable energy sources like wind power, solar power, we're not going to be able to sustain our usage of AI. So this has led us to develop new and novel techniques such as nuclear fusion. Now, the problem with nuclear fusion is that in order for fusion reactions to occur between hydrogen isotopes of deuterium and tritium, there needs to be extremely high temperature and pressure, comparable to the temperature you find at the core of the sun. And this has to be achieved on Earth in a lab. So as you can imagine, it is very difficult for nuclear fusion to be commercially viable. But we have made very notable strides towards realizing this goal, as I remember back in 2021 or 2022, the US has successfully initiated a positive energy balance nuclear fusion reaction using laser to initiate that reaction, and it has been very successful. So hopefully we're able to see nuclear fusion becoming reality in the next couple of decades, where it would replace the current quite inefficient new renewable energy sources and coal and fossil fuels. And the critical thing that we have to mention is that nuclear fusion is completely green, right? When you fuse hydrogen isotopes together, the product is just hydrogen gas, which is non-toxic and is completely safe for humans. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll see more strides towards nuclear fusion becoming reality, which would solve so many of the world's problems right now, and also help to advance our development of AI. So the real takeaway here is that for every industrial revolution we have witnessed in our civilization, there's always been an accompanying upgrade in the type of fuel we use. And so by this logic, in order for the AI revolution to be successful, we need a more efficient way of producing energy that surpasses the legacy means such as fossil fuels and renewable energy. Although we try to develop renewable energy right now because of challenges of climate change and so on, we also know that renewable energy itself produces very little energy compared to nuclear options, which is why we're also developing nuclear fission and fusion at this stage. But if fusion becomes commercially viable, that would be a huge lifesaver for our planet and for our civilization as a whole. If you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing and liking and sharing. I'll catch you next time.